Welcome to this lecture series on Environment and Ecology presented by Mentors for IS in association with Bangalore IS Academy and Namak APSC. So in this particular video, we'll be completing our discussion with terrestrial ecosystems. Now in terrestrial ecosystems, forest ecosystems was left out. So we'll complete our discussion and then we can move on to aquatic ecosystems in the next video. Okay, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what forest ecosystems are. The forest ecosystem includes a complex assembly of different kinds of biotic communities. Optimum conditions such as temperature and ground moisture are actually responsible for the establishment of forest communities. Now, here the nature of soil, climate, and local topography determine the distribution of trees and their abundance in the forest vegetation. A forest may be of different types. It may be evergreen or deciduous depending upon the climatic conditions in that particular region. They are also distinguished on the basis of the leaf into broad-leafed or needle-leafed coniferous forests in the case of temperate areas. The forest ecosystems have actually been classified into three major categories, that is coniferous forest, temperate forest and tropical forest. All these forest biomes are generally arranged on a gradient from north to south latitude or from higher to lower altitude. However, we will also further classify these forest ecosystems or biomes into more than three categories, and I will not restrict this discussion only to coniferous forests, temperate forests or tropical forests. Okay, so first what we'll take up is boreal forest. Now, boreal forest is also known as coniferous forest. Now, these forests are found in cold regions with high rainfall, strong seasonal climates, with long winters and short summers. Now, these are the characteristic features of coniferous forests. You need long winters and short summers, and these trees, as you can see in this picture or image over here, they are conical in shape. So, the forest is characterized by evergreen plant species such as spruce, fir, and pine trees, whereas animals such as the lynx, wolf, bear, red fox, porcupine, squirrels are found in boreal forests. Now, the boreal forests are also characterized by thin podozols, which are rather poor in fertility. Now, I just want you to know this is a kind of soil which is found in coniferous forests. Now, this is a type of soil which contains different horizons. So, you have the classification of soil into different horizons based on the color. So, it is kind of ash gray which is found on top of darker soil. Now, this is a kind of characteristic soil which are found usually in temperate regions in coniferous forests. So, because in this particular forest, because the weathering of rocks proceeds slowly in cold environments and the litter derived from the conifer needles is also decomposed very slowly, this particular soil is not very fertile. So as I had mentioned earlier, it is infertile acidic soil. Now, apart from being acidic, they are also deficit of certain minerals. So what happens is, due to movement of large amount of water through the soil without a significant counter upward movement of evaporation, meaning soil percolates, it is leached, so many of these nutrients are leached, whereas the upward movement of water in the opposite direction does not take place. So what happens is, the essential soluble nutrients like calcium, nitrogen, potassium, which are leached sometimes beyond the reach of roots. So this process leaves no alkaline oriented cations to encounter the organic acids of the accumulating litter. Therefore, this soil is actually acidic in nature. Also, please do make a note, the productivity and the community stability of a boreal forest is actually lower than most of the other forest ecosystems. They are not very fertile, they are not very productive either. However, these forests are also evergreen because of the climatic conditions. Now, they don't have a very high metabolic rate. Once they do have leaves, these leaves will be retained for a very long time. So, unlike other deciduous forests over here, they don't shed their leaves because the metabolic rate is very low. They have to conserve all the energy. Therefore, these forests are also evergreen forests. Okay. Next, we'll take up temperate deciduous forest. Now, the temperate deciduous forest is a biome that is always changing in nature because of the four distinct seasons which are found in this particular region. So, we have summer, we have autumn, we have spring, we have winter. These distinct seasons are found in this particular region, and because of which we have a temperate deciduous forest in this particular region with precipitation of around 30 to 60 inches every year. These temperate forests are characterized by a moderate climate, and they have broad leafed deciduous trees which shed their leaves in fall. So you have this season over here. Fall is nothing but autumn after summer. So during this they actually shed their leaves and are bare over winter and grow new foliage in the spring. The precipitation is fairly uniform throughout. However, the soils in temperate deciduous forests can also be podozoic and fairly deep. So these are certain characteristic features of the temperate deciduous forest. Again, the different types of forests and the climatic conditions will once again be taken up when geography will be discussed. So this is just for the sake, since it is also a part of environment and ecology, I'll just briefly go through these parts. Okay. Next, we have the temperate evergreen forests. Now, parts of the world that have Mediterranean type of climate are characterized by warm, dry summers and cool, moist winters. So it is these parts of the world which have the temperate evergreen forests. Now, these are commonly inhabited by broad-leafed evergreen trees. Now, I'm pretty sure many of you would already know Mediterranean climate is when the precipitation is during winter time. And please remember, whenever you have precipitation during winter time, the vegetation which is found along over in such region or such climatic conditions are usually always evergreen. Therefore, in this, that is temperate evergreen forests are actually forests which are found in the Mediterranean region and not the tropical region, but are still evergreen in nature. So you can also make note of this point. Fire is actually an important hazardous factor in this ecosystem, and the plants are actually adapted to this, which enables them to regenerate very quickly after being burned. Okay, so also one other point was that this particular over here, since you don't have precipitation throughout the year, most of the trees are also very short and they are xerophytic. So next type of forest is the temperate rainforest. Now, these are not tropical rainforests but temperate rainforests which exhibit a marked seasonality with regard to temperature and rainfall. So in these forests, rainfall is high and fog may be very heavy. Now, this fog can also be a source of water for many plants. The biotic diversity of temperate rainforests is high as compared to other temperate forests. However, the diversity of plants and animals is much low when compared to the tropical rainforest. You can just make a note of these particular points. Also, please do remember these are forests which are found only in certain parts of the world like Chile, New Zealand and Australia, and they are not widespread across the world. They are restricted to a few regions. They also may be found in North America. Okay. Next, moving on to tropical rainforests. Now, the tropical rainforests are rainforests that occur in areas of with climate which are found along the tropical region along the equatorial belt where you don't have any dry season. So these tropical rainforests occur near the equator and are among the most diverse and rich communities on the earth. Now, one thing that I want you to remember is that both temperature and humidity remain very high, more or less uniform. Both temperature and humidity remain high and they are more or less very uniform. Also, the annual precipitation rainfall exceeds 200 centimeters and is distributed throughout the year. The annual precipitation is distributed throughout the year. The extreme dense vegetation of the tropical rainforest remains vertically stratified with tall trees often covered with vines, creepers, epiphytic orchids, and bromeliads. The lowest layer is an understory of trees, shrubs, herbs, and like ferns and palms. Now, in tropical rainforest, you have very tall trees. However, the undergrowth is restricted because the sunlight is cut off by these trees and hardly any sunlight reaches the ground, and therefore the undergrowth is very less in tropical rainforest. Also, you can make a note of this. The soil of tropical rainforests are red latosols. They are actually red latosols and they are very, very thick. Now, since you receive very high precipitation, that is very heavy rainfall throughout the year, you also have very high rate of leaching, which makes the soil virtually useless for agricultural purposes. But when left undisturbed, the rapid cycling of nutrients within the litter layer, that is nothing but the shedding of leaves and all the organic matter which collects up, due to decomposition of this, the nutrient quality of the soil actually improves and actually increases. But if the forest is cleared, then very quickly the soil will lose its value, I mean fertility. But if you do have the forest, due to all the organic matter, the soil becomes fertile. Okay. Next, we move on to tropical seasonal forests. Now, tropical seasonal forests are also known as monsoon forests, which occur in regions where the total annual rainfall is very high but segregated into pronounced wet and dry periods. This kind of forest is found in Southeast Asia, Central and South America, Northern Australia, Western Africa, as well as in some parts of India. Now, this is not very important, but you can just make a note of it. You also have subtropical rainforests. Now, subtropical rainforests are broad-leaved, evergreen subtropical rainforests which are found in regions of fairly high rainfall but less temperature differences between winter and summer. Now, just like your tropical rainforest, you can also have epiphytes over here. And animal life of subtropical forest is very similar to that of the tropical rainforest. So with this, we actually cover forest ecosystems as well. And with forest ecosystems, we actually cover terrestrial ecosystems. In the next video, we'll start with aquatic ecosystems, which are actually important. Whereas terrestrial ecosystems, more or less, you just have to make a note of few important things. So if you do have any doubts, please do write to us in the comment section. Thank you.